Hi everyone, today we're going to be working on Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm so excited to share this arrangement with you guys. I've been waiting all year long to share some legitimate Disney music with you guys, and here it is, Pirates of the Caribbean. The first thing you're going to notice about your part is that it's got a violin 1 or a violin 2 or a cello 1 or a cello 2 or a viola 1 and 2, bass 1 and 2. So what you should know about that is that the one part, violin 1 will be for the first violins, violin 2 will be for the second violins. However, everything after that, violas, cellos, and basses, just play the part 2 because the part 1 is the melody. You can play that on your own if you want. However, to fill in the whole parts of the orchestra, we need you to play the part 2 parts. Okay, so does that make sense? Violin 1s, you play the violin 1 part. Violin 2, you play the violin 2 part. Viola, cello, and bass, you play your 2 part. Have fun playing the 1 part on your own, but it is not part of our assignments. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start off this song with the bass. And as I play through each other's parts, feel free to play along, and I'll also call out the measure numbers. So as we start off with the bass, we're going to do a nice 3-4 pattern. And in 3-4, everybody, we need to emphasize the first beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and so on, okay? So that's going to mean faster bow in our bow strokes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's going to kind of look like a zigzag, not just back and forth. So here is the first bass part with that emphasis. Everyone play along for measure 1. 1, 2, 3, ready, set, and go. And 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there and talk about some fingerings for the bass specifically. This is measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Measure 6. Right there you go down to a low G. I don't know if we've ever played that before in class, but you're going to play it on the E string, second finger. Then back up to that D, okay? Then we run into the first rhythm, which everybody has. Everybody, this is measure 8. You're going to have down, up, down. Ready, set, and go. Ready, again. Excellent. Okay. And then I'm going to jump forward at the next 2 measures. Let's start again on measure 8, everyone. Or pick up to measure 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Alright, so that's that rhythm right there. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Bass, you have it different than everyone else. Let's clap and count that part. This is measure 8, 9, 10, 11. Measure 11, okay? 1 and 3. That's the rhythm. Bass, you have that again at measure... What did I say? We were on 8, 9, 10, 11. You have that again on measure 12. 1 and 3. Everyone else, you have 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Again, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And that's that right there, okay? Alright, let's start again. Pick up to measure 8. Take a look at your bowings right there. Eris, you're going to start with an up bow at measure 8. Don't forget, if you have the pickup. 1 and 2 and 3 and... So a couple of things for you to notice there, Eris. When we start on measure 13, you're going to be first finger, open finger, and then you go to open G. When you go to that open G, and then reach that B, you're already going to be down here in this position to get the B and the C natural second finger. And then you're going to have to book it back here to E. like to call the across the street neighbor, where you go from one particular finger on one string to the same finger on the next string. The point is that you're just going to go right across, shift your hand right on. That happens with the last two measures. You go E or B, 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 D. And yes, it is going to be a circle bow right before that D. Or right before that E, I should say. So what I want you to do is when you leave that last note, that last down note, dun, 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 you're going to make it stronger so that the sound still vibrates out more. And then you're going to go attack on that E. Set first, and then attack. Alright. So that's how that goes. That's the ending right there, okay? As always, everyone, make sure that you start plucking these through first. Don't just go at it with your bow. Okay. Now, since we're talking about establishing the rhythm, let's talk about the cello part. Cellos, you have something fun that nobody else has. You have these repeated eighth notes. And this is going to give a lot of energy to the song if you do it right. You could play these eighth notes like... Right? It could get really boring. And that's kind of one of the facts too that you need to start counting, because you need to see when your notes change. But more about that in just a second. What I want you to do with your bow is I want you to feel like you're bouncing. Don't put too much effort into it, but you may notice that if you put some weight into your bow and then release it when you move, it gives a nice little bounce. Now notice what part of the bow I'm in. It wouldn't necessarily work as well at the tip. It's harder to get that same effect. Okay, so this is what it should sound like. Be about in the balance point or middle of the bow. Okay, that's what it should sound like right there. And just so you know, you have the first two measures all alone. So just like Gargoyles, remember at the beginning of the year, it had those cool eighth notes. It needs to sound really, really interesting just by itself. Here's measure 5. Now right there, we're on measure 8. Notice how you have a note change right in the middle of the measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and then you go to the B. 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and. Now this goes to the rhythm that we talked about before. You do have that the same as with the bass, and so yeah, that rule doesn't change for you. 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Now when I say 1 and 3, what notes are missing there, or what numbers are missing there? 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and. That's the rhythm and where it fits into everything else. Let's go on. We're 2 measures before 15, also known as 13. And make sure that you do this carefully. Don't toy around with it. It's very important for our music, okay? Hint, hint. Thanks a lot. Okay, make sure you make that in the comment below. Haha. Here's measure 13. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, set, and go and. Whoopsie. My eyesight is failing me. You know what helps to get all of these notes is to circle when it changes. If you circle when it changes, you'll never fail. Unless you get old like me and your glasses get broken and you can't wear them anymore. Okay. Alright, let's go back to measure 13. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, set, and go and. notice right there that we have a D crescendo. That should come naturally since we're all doing it down bow. Just make sure that you're putting a little bit of weight here. Not so much to crunch. Don't crunch. But let it trail off a little bit. And that'll give some nice dramatic effect there, okay? This song is nothing if not dramatic. So make sure it sounds dramatic with every stroke being like a accent. In fact, cellos, that's what marcato means. Everything is accented or played like it's accented. So we're going to jump now to the viola part in measure 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Now notice at that right there, when I played that D, I could just do it as a tunnel. It sounds like this, and you can also see how nice and round my fingers are to play that open D. Right as I'm coming down, this is measure 1, 2, 4, 5. Right? When I go back and forth from the G string to the D string, I don't need to take my fingers off the D string because it's just an open D. Here it is again at measure 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, and then it moves on from right there. Here's pick up to measure 8. 1 and 2 and. Whoops. Now notice right there, violas, that you have to do what I like to call a high 3 to get that F sharp, okay? That's third finger on the C string, but not in pattern 1, in pattern 3. Yes, 3, with a high 3. That's how you do that part right there. Okay, here's pick up to measure 8 again. 1, 2. Whoops, let me get my music cited first before I count. 1 and 2 and. There's that. Now that F sharp is just second finger, right? Now that is another example right there of a across the street neighbor. Right at measure 14, you went from second finger to second finger right there. Now practice that extra hard, especially since, and seconds you have this too, you have a second finger going to a second finger, which kind of makes your brain want to pair those two. But then again, you have a slur before then. So you have that D, and it's an up-o too, so that's another thing to think about. You can simply just move your finger a little bit flatter. I don't know if you can see that right there. Ba-da-da, to hit that note. You're not always going to get the best tone that way, so best to just pick it up and move it over. However, when you're playing fast music, that's the cheating way to do it. Oh, Mr. Burke telling us how to cheat. That's that. Okay? Then moving on to measure 15. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Oh, E, C, E, 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 C, E, F's, F's, E, E, G, F's, G. We should probably talk about that rhythm, everybody. We have there, in the last few measures, some dotted quarter notes back to back, but they appear on different parts of the measure. So let's clap and count, starting in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measures, okay? We have that half note and then 2 eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Clap that with me again. Ready? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. All right, that's that part, and that's the viola part. Cool, cool. Let's talk about second violin part. Now, second violin, you guys are the coolest because, you know, you're the first ones to have a second part, and now all the rest of us are getting used to it. Let's start at measure 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Whoops. That would be the melody. Whoops, it's a low B, right? And then it goes, and that measure 8, 9, 10, 11. Da, 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 da. Here's that 2 to 2 part right here. Notice how I go from 2 to 2. And make sure you practice that with the bow. I mean, everything, obviously. Practice with the bow. Hope you know that when you play this for me, you're playing it with the bow. Up, down. Okay? When you're playing open strings, you can get your fingers placed on the next strings down that you're going to use. All right. Going on from measure 15. 1, 2, 3. Low 2 on that one right there. Or else you're going to make the whole song sound weird. Yeah. And you may notice I started with the wrong bowing. That's why I had to circle bow to get that up bow. Let's start on the pickup to measure 17. 1 and 2 and... Now right there, on those dotted quarter notes, you actually share some of the same notes as the first part. So that should tell you something, that it should come out a little bit more and be a little bit more fantastic. First violins, hopefully by this part, you've been able to play along, at least pluck, clap along, whatever, have it. Let's play your part now all the way through. Right at the beginning, everyone, feel free to play along. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. And there you have it. All right, guys. It's been fun. I hope you're doing well. I hope this song animates you a bit. And don't forget to write in down below which Disney character did you see, or you could just list what movie it's from. All right. Bye-bye.